Don't try to sneak into your room like that. I know what you've got behind your back. Records. More new records.
Well, I just got back from Axpona yesterday, and I'm beat, but at the same time, Gaucho showed up, the UHQR Gaucho. So, before opening it, I decided I would listen to an original. I've got a bunch of originals of this. And you know, there were actually two original pressings that Bob Ludwig cut. There's an MD1 and an MD2. I don't know why that happened, but it did happen. There are two different lacquers that he cut. And the MD1, on the various copies I've got, the MD1 sounds way better than the MD2. So you might want to check your original pressing and see whether you have an MD1 or an MD2. So, you know, this record came out in 1980, and Becker and Fagan started this in 1978. And I'm sure you know the stories about the erased tracks by an assistant engineer, oops, about the drum machine Wendell, about Becker's, about the lawsuit that Keith Jarrett sued them. I mean, all these stories are known, so there's no point going into that more. But, and this album was different than Asia. Asia, I think, was a more sophisticated album in some ways. Well, some people like this better. It's a great sounding record, and there's great tracks on it. So it doesn't matter which one you like better. So that's the original one of this record, and you know, it's just 7 songs, including Time Out of Mind, My Rival, Gaucho, and they put one extra song on here because they didn't have a song because half of it got erased. So I'm sure you know all the stories, and I'm not going to go into them. Well, I just did. I just did, actually. I'm not going to go into them further. So let's open the UHQR. Right, so now we're gonna open the box. Here it is, very exciting. These boxes are great. I can't throw these boxes out because they're so cool. I saved them. I have a whole storage space full of these boxes. And there it is, Gaucho. And it takes up a lot of shelf space, and blah blah blah. And you know, if you don't like the box, put it away someplace and put the record on a shelf, because these records come with a really nice jacket design inside, so it's not a big deal. Okay, I've now taken the shrink wrap off, and there it is. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to lower this camera somewhat. Yeah, I'm going to lower the camera so you can see it. Why should you look at my face? Rather, you could look at this. So, you know, it's got the dowel. It's got the whole thing. And I know people don't want to get up and turn a record over, but you know what? It's good exercise to do that. So here's a little blurb on quality record pressing. This was pressed. They can only press 20,000 of these. This was pressed January 2024, so it's had a chance to age a little bit, as have we all. Then there's the manual on how to play the record, which I'm sure you all know, and they show this, which has unfortunately it has an outdated credit for where I am, but that's okay, because when these run out, they'll print more and they'll fix it, I'm sure. And of course, you know, the Asia was absolutely fantastic. Let's see what we got in here. You get another more advertising, and then you have this. Very nicely done. They do a very good job with the notes, with the artwork and the notes. And Donald Fagen wrote the notes in here. And I'm not going to read them to you, but there's the tape that was used. Just in case you think it was not a tape, there it is. I know, they got that picture from before the fire. And no, this really is the tape that Bernie Grunman used. And it's Scotch, and it has master disc on it, which is where Bob Ludwig was at this particular point in time. You know, Bob worked both at Sterling and master disc, and in 1980, he was there. And it looks like, what's good about this is Donald Fagen tells you what the songs are about, as opposed to reading some of the, you know, stuff by other people trying to interpret it. So there's also some humor in this, so I'm not going to read what's on here. You'll have to read it yourself. And it tells you who played what. It's divided up, and I'm not going to go into that either. This was recorded at some of the best studios around. I mean, this is recorded at Soundworks New York, A&R Studios New York, which is Phil Ramone's studio, Sigma Sound in New York, Automated Sound Studios in New York, Village Recorders, and Producers Workshop in Los Angeles. And if you know those names, you could look up Producers Workshop and you'll see who recorded there. A lot of people did. I think, yeah, Bill Chenet talks about Producers Workshop in the interview that I did with him. Anyway, everybody's listed here, and Bernie Grumman mastered, and here's the jacket. It's a very nice gatefold laminated jacket, much nicer than the original, of course. It's a beautiful presentation, and Walter Becker and Donald Fagen did not go in the studio for 20 years. They didn't release a record in 20 years after they released this, and there was a couple of years between this and Asia. So here they are on the Milky White UHQR vinyl, and we are going to listen to this and let you know what we think. And I'm going to record, I guess I'll do Babylon Sister. That's pretty much what people want to hear, the first track. I'm going to record that for you and put the recording up on the YouTube channel for what that's worth. I think it's worth something. I'm going to put side one on here. I always say, don't bet against a Bob Ludwig pressing. The original does sound really, really good. I suspect what we're going to hear on this new pressing is better bass. I think there's better bass on that tape. I'm just thinking it because the bass is a little bit underwhelming on this record, on the original. And I think we're going to hear a smoother high frequencies, a little less crunchy sound. And I think we're going to hear certainly a little more in the dynamic range area, I think. And the cutting system that Bernie has now is really, I think, a phenomenally good sounding cutting system. He's cut some amazing records of late there. So, Babylon Sisters, I'm going to put it on this turntable over here. This is, I'm just about to review this turntable. It's the Wilson-Benesch GMT One. Costs, all right, it costs $371,000. Yes, it does. And the phono preamp that goes with it is the CH Precision P10, and that costs another $75,000. I know it could feed half of Africa, but look, it's the way it is. And there's no snake oil involved in this turntable, as you'll read in the review. This was a very carefully done scientific project. And then you say, why would you waste that kind of money to spin an old technology, a record that costs a couple of dollars or even $150? Well, the proof is in the listening, and the proof is the fact that, you know, vinyl, people love tape. Okay, tape is great, but vinyl is really the most durable if you take care of it, the most durable format. These records, if you put them away and they don't get burnt up on a fire, they will sound as good as they sound now, which is great, 1,000 years from now, 100 years from now. They will. They won't really deteriorate. Okay, maybe not 1,000 years from now, but a really, really long time they will last. Okay, so now let's all listen to Babylon Sisters.
Enhanced power means enhanced sound. QRT is the solution. From power supplies to ground boxes to network switches and more, QRT products redefine the art of clean, dynamic power. Nordos QRT, where power meets purity.
Okay, now we're going to record Babylon Sisters on this Wilson-Benesch GMT One turntable. It's their arm, it's their cartridge. It looks like bling, but it's the real deal, actually. So here's the remote that you get with it. So you'll notice it has 0 RPM and a bunch of arrows, and you turn it on that way. What's cool about this is you can get back to your seat, you can turn it on, get back to your seat. It gets up to speed pretty quickly. It's You can see it's almost a 45. Bing, there it is. Only when it gets to speed can you lower the arm by pushing this button. How cool is that?
Drive west on Sunset to the sea. Turn that jungle music down, just until we're out of town. This is no one night stand, it's a real occasion. Close your eyes and you'll be there. It's everything they say. End of a perfect day, distant lights from across the bay. Babylon sister, shake it. Babylon sister, shake it. So fine, so young.
Tell me I'm the only one. Here come those Santa Ana winds again.
We'll jog with show folk on the sand. Drink Kirschwasser from a shell. San Francisco show and tell. Well, I should know by now that it's just a spasm, like a Sunday in TJ, that it's cheap but it's not free, that I'm not what I used to be, and that love's not a game for three.
Babylon sister, shake it. Babylon sister, shake it.
So fine, so young.
Tell me I'm the only one. Here come those Santa Ana winds again.
My friends say no, don't go for that cotton candy. Son, you're playing with fire. The kid will live and learn as he watches his bridges burn from the point of no return.
Babylon sister, shake it. Babylon sister, shake it.
So fine, so young.
Tell me I'm the only one.
The secret to a successful sound system is its cables. At Nordost, innovative design meets precision engineering to make cables that maximize the performance of your system. Hear what your components are capable of with Nordost cables.
So what did I hear on this UHQR of Gaucho? So the first really great thing about this reissue is it doesn't attempt to remake it into something new that it's not, because the original was so good, right? So if they, if Bernie added a lot of bass and tried to make it boomy and tip up the top end to give it some more pizzazz, which it doesn't need. It doesn't need any of those things because Bob's original was so good. But what you will hear at 45 is a much silkier, smoother sound, not in the negative sense of it smoothing over things, but clarifying things. So when the background gals sing Babylon Sisters, it's not all sisters, it's smoother. The cymbals are smoother. All the percussion is smoother. Donald Fagen's voice sounds cleaner, a little more three-dimensional. Everything about this is better. Is it hugely better? I mean, it is better. You'll enjoy it more. It's got less of a gritty kind of sound to it. The backgrounds are quieter. The original was pretty good pressing. This is just so much better. So yeah, I think if you love this record and you want to have the final ultimate version of this record and have all of these Steely Dan records, this is definitely worth getting. Is it gonna? Are you gonna start hearing things you never heard before? I don't think so, unless you've gotten a much better turntable since the last time you played it. But you are definitely going to hear all of the details laid out cleanly and against a really black background and a silkier, smooth presentation that makes it a lot easier and more pleasant to listen to over time. So I enjoyed this record. It's another great version, another great reissue from Analogue Productions. And I would say if you like this record, you will enjoy this new pressing. But if you think it's hugely better than the original, anybody who tells you that is being ridiculous. It's just much better in substantial and important ways. Okay, but it's not like a revelation, Okay, that's it. That's Steely Dan's Gaucho on UHQR. It's the definitive version of this record, that's for sure.